seem to grow up. I said I just can't seem to grow up. But you know what? What? I don't think I want to. Follow me here. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Retro Fun Time. I'm your host, Roberto V. What the heck? Ah, crap, the power's out. Hold on, guys. I gotta go find a flashlight. Ah, crap. God damn it. Why did I leave that on the ground? Ow, son of a... Oh, down, kitty. Ow, my freaking foot. Ow, 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 ow. Ah. All right, here's the flashlight. Ah! Ah! Wait, where was he just... No. Let's just get to some Sonic.
Developed by the Sonic team for the Sega Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog was released in 1991. Players begin the game as Sonic and must beat each level in order to stop the evil Dr. Robotnik. Though developed as a way of making a new mascot for Sega, the game would get positive reviews and would become the newly packaged game for the Sega Genesis that year.
Okay, it is time for Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one there in the Genesis. It's kind of funny, I've never actually owned a Genesis in my entire life. I always had a friend back in Michigan when I used to live there that his system of choice was the Sega Genesis. It was the weirdest thing because, you know, I always owned a Super Nintendo as a kid, always got into that. I don't even remember how I got into Super Nintendo, probably just because of Nintendo, my parents got it for me. But it was always like that one system that was just sort of at the edge of it. I always loved Sonic. No matter how many other games I played on the Genesis, whether it be Phantasy Star or of course their popular Altered Beast, Sonic was always the one I loved. And everyone, I mean, granted, yes, at the time when I kind of got into the Sega Genesis, yes, it came with the system for sure. But I always loved this game because it was that one game that you could play pretty much any style you'd like. You had a choice of either A, zipping through the levels like everyone else did, or if you were me and really got into collecting those Chaos Emeralds, you basically platform around and explore the levels and try to get as many rings as you could, just so you can make sure you get that damn Chaos Emerald Dam, which we'll show you because that. Interesting things about this game in general. One of the big funny things I've learned was I was kind of looking up the development of this game, and it was actually just essentially, hey, we need a mascot for the new Sega games, and that's kind of what they picked was this game. It's bizarre as hell that this is the one that became it. Because I remember when the Genesis came out, it was such a, like it was, I think, the first 16-bit system. I don't think the Super Nintendo had come out in the States at least, and they had tried, they really pushed that fact that it was going to be sort of this this idea and things. We're actually going to go a little special level. God, I love this game. If I yell "damn it," it is because I did not get the Chaos Emerald, and that is no bueno for me. Finally, mainly because I'm one of those guys that has to like complete games to no end, and this was that game like no. Where I had to get all the Chaos Emeralds, just because it was the only way I think you got the true ending. Even though, yes, they're also help you continue throughout the game when you fail and stuff like that. You'd only get the complete ending, if I think I remember correctly, if you got all the Chaos Emeralds. But yeah, this game just came out of like, hey, we need a mascot, and so someone made a mascot first, and they made a game around that second. But that didn't matter because this is such a great system. There's some things about the Genesis I still love over the Super Nintendo. One of them being actually the music. Though the music on the Super Nintendo, which, oh, god damn it. Though the music on Super Nintendo was way better because it's kind of tracked. I love that kind of like dirty synth. I mean, listen to this. It's just that dirty, you know, Yamaha FM synth that they put in here that gave it something a bit weird. I mean, because it wasn't as like Sega never came up as polished as Super Nintendo. That's not a good thing or bad thing. It just always had a little bit of a rough edge, and I've always liked that. I always liked the fact it felt a little bit a little bit rougher at times, a little bit more basic. Like they had it almost was like, here's the lesser system, but damn, we're gonna push this thing to the brink, and they did. I mean, granted, there'd be as much as I love Sonic, there'd be way more popular games in terms of the Sega Genesis illustrious career, such as, for example, I think Comic Zone was one of the more popular games. A lot of the X-Men games would come on here were way better than the ones on the Super Nintendo, let alone the Nintendo for that matter. There, of course, Mortal Kombat on here was the one that had the blood code, so even Super Nintendo could not be as violent as the Sega. Sega was just that weird, the Genesis was that weird system that just, God damn it, can't go that way. Probably can, but I don't want to risk it. Sega was just that system that let you get away with some stuff like that. Then they weren't it wasn't all altruistic, I think. I mean, there's gotta be reasons for it. We're actually gonna get another Chaos Emerald here, hopefully. For some reason, that's my mission. I gotta get the Chaos Emeralds. I think I got 3 more. No. I think it's over here. So I gotta remember where it is now, and I know it's not over there. I have to remember where here it is. God damn it. There we go. First Chaos Emerald missed. Because that's what happens in this game. So we're gonna quickly go here and beat Mr. Robotnik, or Robotnik if you're Sonic the Hedgehog of the cartoon series, voiced by Jaleel White, aka Urkel. But we will take care of that. Yeah, Sonic went on to be a huge thing. I mean, everything in the 90s had a cartoon. Ghostbusters, MC Hammer, Wayne Gretzky. So it wasn't a foreign notion to give a video game character with such a bright color, the reins to a video game, to a cartoon. But what's really cool about the Sonic Hedgehog cartoon, one, there were actually 2 different cartoons. One is your typical kind of like, oh, wacky, zany cartoon. Whereas the other one actually is surprisingly a really, really compelling storyline that actually would end up spawning onto a comic book, surprisingly enough. I think it's still being done by Archie, to be honest. It might not be, but I remember Archie Comics did it. But the Saturday morning one, or SATAM as they called it, was sort of this really, really in-depth storyline involving like subtle nods to environmentalism and some other kind of strange things, but it never bashed you over the head for it. It just was kind of there, and it was really cool because, one, it was really decent animation, but 2, it treated kids with a little bit of respect when it came to their cartoons. And here is Dr. Robotnik, the ever popular villain, or if you're from Japan, you might know him as Eggman. Your call on how you want to refer to him. I like Dr. Robotnik. Because Dr. Robotnik just sounds way more evil and way more harsh. Let's see if we can take care of him really quickly without dying. There we go. Dr. Robotnik falls for the first time. And with that, people, once we take care of that, we are done with part 1 here of gameplay. So we'll come right back with some more Sonic the Hedgehog, don't you worry. But in the time being, just hold off. We'll come back with more gameplay, like I said. In the meantime, why don't you check out this video explaining all the things that happens to do with the history of Sega.
It seems that every game company has an interesting past. For example, during the early 20th century, Nintendo started its existence as a playing card company. When it comes to Sega, they have a bit of an interesting past too. Founded in 1940, Sega, known as Service Games, started its life as an import shop in Japan. Dealing mainly in jukeboxes and slot machines, it wouldn't be until 1954 that the name Sega would be born from the shortening of Service Games. So how the heck did they get into the console market? Well, after the great video game crash here in the States, consoles were still doing well in Japan. In our next part, we will tackle the Sega Master System and the Sega Genesis.
Okay, we are back in Sonic the Hedgehog, and we're actually skipping ahead now, as we tend to do in these games. And we're gonna play my favorite level, to be honest, level design-wise, is, I think it's Spring Yard Zone, I think that's what it's called. I love this level design. This isn't the best level, though, design-wise. I think that's still Labyrinth Zone. But I love the music for Spring Yard Zone. It's one of my favorites. I mean, listen to this. It's all Vegas-y and that kind of weird style. And they would do this again in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which we'll end up looking at next. With I think it's Casino Zone. I forget the zone. That's the one thing with Sonic is when you make a game and your mission is make this game your mascot for your game company, you kind of hit almost sometimes of a rut as to what you do. But you know, still doesn't make it a bad game. It just makes it a weird kind of thing. Here we go. And I figured I'd show you some stuff like that. We might actually skip around with this level. See how good we do here. Because the sad part is as the game, god damn it, as the game gets longer, it just gets harder and harder to deal with all the stuff, and gets harder and harder to find all the Chaos Emeralds. That's the point. I mean, it's supposed to be a difficult game and such. But I mean, either way, you always had a choice in how you played the game. If you notice, right now I'm just kind of zipping through, but if we had gone a little bit up ahead there, we could have gotten into maybe an alternate pathway, like, oh, look here. Speaking of alternate pathways, there's always at least one other way to get around levels and such, and always these hidden kind of things that just were always kind of somewhere. Just because, you know, like, what's the one thing I liked about Sonic was that, yes, it's a linear game, and yes, you know, in later years, and like later years, I mean like a year pretty much, you know, Sonic, you know, Super Mario World would come out and be this huge, expansive level, but still, this game it has a style of its own, and it's something that I think very few people really remember about this game is how much style it's had. Yes, it was the 90s, and everything had to be cool and fast and hip, and we had, like I said, the character of Sonic the Hedgehog. The only fact I remember when it came to the cartoons was that he loved chili dogs, and it was a very strange time, but, you know, that was the 90s. That was how things worked. And ultimately, it's not like Sonic has changed much anyways, you know. Sonic is still all about speed. I mean, in terms of, especially when you play the more modern Sonic games now, you're just zipping through levels. You're not even really platforming anymore. You're just, you know, kind of on Twitch reactions, hoping to God you kind of accomplish your goals. When it comes to a lot of those games, you're just basically zipping through, hoping to God you don't die. I mean, if you guys want to watch a funny kind of take on it, I think go watch, essentially you might have to go to spill.com to watch some of the archives, but watch Jeff and Jason in the loading bar there and check out when they played Sonic, because it is a mess of just crap now. I mean, it still looks like it's a fun game, and it most likely still is, but there the game you see here is no longer present. There's really very little platforming now, and there's almost very little gameplay. There's actually, I think one of the more recent ones, Sonic actually starts like conversing with humans. Like, it's such a bizarre world as to what's happened, because he's in France or something, or Paris, or Neo Tokyo, where the fuck he's at, and I can never ever tell what's happening in the new kind of games. They're still just as bright, they're still just as fast, and the soundtrack is always still as good, but I don't know, I always loved the 90s one. I always loved the original Sonic look. It might be because, you know, that's, for me, this is that different game. You know, and then again, I love the Super Nintendo, and Super Nintendo is still my favorite system to date, and for sure is where I got a lot of my, you know, I cut my teeth in terms of gaming and became the gamer I am today. You know, the guy that played a whole bunch of RPGs, that got into a whole bunch of Japanese weird games, that played a lot of bizarre platformers and puzzle games and stuff like that. You would not, that's who that guy is now. But still, I always thought the Sega Genesis had this sort of allure. Maybe it's that whole mentality of like, ooh, I never owned that. I've always wondered what that was like. I can't have that, because back then it wasn't so much. And we're starting to see a resurgence of this now, but not so much now. The era of gaming we're in now, the whole idea of the console wars is pretty much a moot point. There's that arrow telling me to go up. That is such a convention of making figures with your collectible thing. Even Mario does that too. But it was a different time where You could never, Sonic and Mario had to face head to head, and it was, Sega versus Nintendo. I mean, the slogan for the Genesis was, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, and it was all about that kind of thing. Whereas now, yes, Sony and Microsoft kind of did the same thing, but you as gamers are smart enough to know that it doesn't matter what system you buy, it just matters what experience you want and everything else like that. But back then, it was a little bit more like, if you want to play Sonic games, you had to get Sega. And if you want to play Nintendo games, you had to get, Nintendo. Especially if you want to play Mario, you had to get that. And it's still the same for Mario to this day, but you have a lot more choices. If you want to play a Mario game, you don't have to get a Nintendo Wii U. You can just get a DS and be on your merry way. Or that. Back then, it was a little bit crazy harder. God damn it, this is the only thing I hate about Sonic, is the fact you're just bouncing around after a certain period of time. But of course, let's see. Let's see how things have changed in our gaming culture and world. Well, first and foremost, of course, Sega is no longer making consoles. They're just a software development team, and they're still making Sonic games. We actually have, a Nintendo game where you can fight Sonic versus Mario, that being Super Smash Bros. Brawl, or you can do that Olympic game kind of thing. So it's sort of funny. I remember that was the day a lot of my friends were kind of sad. They're like, that's it, that's the end of the war, because Sonic is now in a Mario game. We have about a minute left before we have to stop playing, so we'll just look at Spring Yard Zone Act 3. To see how far we can get. We're probably not going to get that far because I am terrible at this game, if you haven't noticed already. It's harder talking to, but we'll just have to get up there. There you go. Regardless, though, Sonic the Hedgehog is a decently designed game, and I always loved how it did its thing. And to think it all came because some muckety-muck working for a company that originally made, I think it was casino things for Hawaii. Was it after World War II? That wasn't even a Japanese company. That became one. Decided they needed a mascot for their new Master System, Genesis, depending on where you are in the world. And that is how Sonic the Hedgehog was born, and we are completely out of time. So thank you for watching this portion. Of course, we will be right back, so stay tuned and listen to my final summation on Sonic the Hedgehog.
I never owned a Sega Genesis. I was always a Nintendo kid. But I always looked at the Sega games fondly. Maybe even with a little bit of jealousy. As much as I love Mario, Link, and other Nintendo characters, Sonic is just cool. He's a swirling mass of blue that makes for a fast-paced game that couldn't be matched. Sure, the world is nowhere near as big as Super Mario World or filled with different suits, but man did it have style. The level design is excellent with not only solid looks, but without compromising how the player plays the game. In each level, the Sonic team gave the player the ability to platform and collect rings, or just speed on through at lightning pace. For the most part. It's an excellent game, and no matter how many times I play it, I am always wowed by it. The game was developed to give Sega a mascot, an identity, and Sonic gave them that in spades. Next time, we'll take a look at the sequel, Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Thanks for watching this week's show. Of course, you can catch all of our previous episodes and join in the discussion at our website, CosmicRadio.TV/RetroFunTime. We are pretty much everywhere you guys want to be. iTunes, YouTube, ScrewAttack.com, and even our Blip TV site. So go and watch this episode and future episodes, and of course previous episodes, any way you seem fit. Of course, you can also follow us at our Twitter account at RetroFunTime. And also check out our Facebook page, link right here. We're also on Google+. Heck, we're everywhere except for MySpace. Well, that's our show for today, so tune in next time. But do remember, it ain't art unless we prove it to be. Take care. I'm going to deal with you later. I need a vacation.